Om Devaji Sheshnak Yoga Center. What on earth is Kundalini? This video is about enlightenment is overrated, and this is in relation to management. In 1998 I experienced spiritual illumination, took off to Tasmania, Australia, got a job straight away, worked part-time eventually, and then took some holidays and then got a job in the local hospital. While I was there, I decided to stick up for people and be the whistleblower for mismanagement. When was that? 13, 14 years ago. It's been terrible ever since. I'm struggling to get a job in the hospital 20 minutes away from me. For the last 9 years, I've been working in the north of the state. I moved there with my family. For the first 3 years, I worked full time. That's when the real destruction of my marriage happened. But during that time, one of the managers became invalidated by my representation of myself. I've done a lot of work on myself to understand myself better and how I'm connected to everyone. And in that I feel confident and solid and peaceful and know that I am reflected by everyone, and my self-awareness or level of self-awareness is phenomenal. But because he, like many managers in the West, is in a management position because he subconsciously wants to be in charge, because it polishes his ego and it gives him a sense of self-belonging. Because he wants to be in charge and subconsciously control his environment and control people, along comes me, who can't be controlled. Don't get me wrong, I'm an awesome person, mate, and I'm nice to everyone that I interact with, and I'm very gracious. Especially patients, because I feel their pain and I feel their joy. I don't over-embellish their pain. And I have a tendency to retain knowledge, so I pass it on freely to students. The only people that get agitated with my expression of the self are people that lack self-awareness and have a facade in place where they manipulate people. So the people that want to be in charge and want to control people can't control me. But they don't need to, because I work within the guidelines of the profession. And I pretty much don't get any complaints from the patients or the people that I work directly with. The only people that are confronted by me are people in positions of superiority. For 3 years I tried to be trained, ironically in a modality that I've already been in and I've already trained people in, back in 1996 through to 1998. But because he's a bully and doesn't get validated by me, because I don't participate in the primal behaviours that he does, subsequently my job opportunities are limited. And during this time I apply for jobs near my property in the south of the state. My job opportunities are limited because I can't get training because of the bully who's confronted by me or invalidated by me. He's actually turned it around so people actually have this facade or this understanding of this facade where he's couldn't intimidate me. So then he turned it around to act as if he's the victim and he yells, "Poor me." That's insane. But because I know myself and I know the energetic manipulation of being and people and their games, like I'm a psychologist and a patient all in one. It's crazy the amount of research I've done on myself, as well as trying to understand myself and find a better way to express myself more harmoniously around people. I'm as sensitive as anything, and thankfully to my brother, who was aggressive and beat me up on a daily basis. I have this determination and confidence to get up each day and keep going on with life. So the bullies don't scare me, because nothing could be more aggressive than my brother was. So I understand their games and don't participate in their childhood playground behavioural patterns, and I point them out. So, needless to say, during that 3 years that I moved my whole family and my life to the north of the state, I don't get trained, which inhibits my future job opportunities. I go for a job in the south of the state, and because I've already held them accountable for mismanagement, they think I'm high risk. And then, one job that I went for, they employed 2 people on a part-time contract with a phenomenal amount of pay, like more than they'd pay me. And they provide accommodation within the CBD of the local town for a 6-month contract. And I think, this is insane, mate. I cost less, I live 20 minutes away, but the boss doesn't like me there because I hold bosses and managers accountable for mismanagement. So then, at the state's expense, they pay contract employees instead of employing a local. So then I take 3 years off without pay, return to the job in the north of the state. This is following divorce and separation and a broken back, but I'll put that in the relationships video. I return on a half-time basis, apparently, even though there's no protocol. Part-timers like myself are then inhibited from training. Mind you, the person that doesn't want to train me refuses to sit in the same room with me and discuss dispute resolution. How insane is that? Not to mention, every person that I've actually trained as a student in that department, I've watched go straight past me and get trained in the modality that I wanted to be trained in. It's just totally insane. No one has any consideration for my emotional state. They think it's a joke. How would you really feel, mate, if you tried to be trained in an area, the person is incapable of being a fair manager, and then he takes a personal dislike to you, so he inhibits your future job opportunities in this state, mine. And then I watch every person that I freely trained go straight past me, past my modality, into the modality that I requested training in. Now they're competent. I'm sitting there part-time, going to the north of the state, 200 kilometres away from work, every second week, passing time in between my shifts when I could be living in my own house, sleeping in my own bed, working on my own property in between my job shifts. I've got to sit and pass time doing something insane in the north of the state every time that I'm not working. I can't believe how insane it is and how much despair I experience from my desire for fairness in the workplace. Not to mention, when I did take the 3 years off leave without pay, I went and worked in the private industry in the local town that my property's in. I worked there for 5 months and 1 week. It was okay for about 2 months. Then we had the Christmas party. On the Christmas party, I'm not real good with alcohol, I tell you. But during the Christmas party, I scammed some Southern Comfort off the boss. And then, because, like everyone, once you get to a certain amount of intoxication, I drop my guard and all my repressed shit comes out. So I asked the boss, who's employed me for 2 months, did they really open the practice because they want to be humanitarians, or did they open it to be amoral and economically motivated? Which was a mistake on my part in hindsight, but the answer came 3 months later and 1 week, when they all cunningly got to a full staffing level and maintained my employment until they became fully staffed, and then sacked me on the spot. That was crazy. That day, what was it? The 8th of March 2013. Little bit of wee came out and I was fucking so overwhelmed with the surrealness of the experience that it broke my heart, as well as I was trying to maintain a relationship and my marriage on top of everything else. Didn't work out, needless to say, because the managers there didn't like me either. They had to have a staff meeting to explain to the staff members that I didn't represent or embody the image that their business wanted to and the direction that they wanted to go. So then I returned to the north of the state part-time, and I've been going for 3 years. Every time I get an opportunity, I apply for a job 20 minutes away. Every time I apply, I get declined the opportunity. I'm a good person, mate, and I'm a good worker. I retain knowledge and I share it freely with the students. Why am I so confrontational to management? Because I desire fairness? Because I've got a reputation of a whistleblower? I don't know. It's not for me to say why they judge me and then impair my future job options without giving me the right opportunities within the professional environment. Then subconsciously they want to be in control of people, they want to bully people. When I hold them accountable for bullying, it comes out that I've got a difficult and challenging personality in the workplace. Mate, I've worked for 20 years. I work with everyone from the cleaner right through to the biggest doctor in the place. All the ones outside of the department that I work with are awesome and have huge respect for the interaction I have with patients and themselves because they've seen me working. The managers who have never seen me work and never seen me interact with people have this judgment of me that is totally incorrect, but because I'm a spiritually realised being and I interpret that there should be fairness in the world, especially within the professional environment, that spiritual perception and my own sensitivity and my own empathy are my own worst enemies. Sometimes in hindsight I wish I kept my mouth shut. You wouldn't believe the sadness that I feel, especially coming to the threshold of 3 years into it, where I'm driving to the north of the state 200 kilometres once every fortnight. Now I'm staying in my camper van to save money for my temple because no one understands where I'm going with the Sanskrit, what on earth is Kundalini, and anything to do with fairness. That's unbelievable. But what can I do? Since I am in the age bracket under 45, and the highest cause of death is suicide for under 45 males in this culture, I personally can't suicide because I have obligations in the form of my children. I have a predetermined agenda on a spiritual level to do with Sheshnag, and to build this Sheshnag Mandir, put out a challenge to every psychologist and doctor on the planet to disprove me that the goal of the human framework and the human life is to experience the universality of all that there is and to directly experience the divine nature that is the substratum of all existence. In the material world, in the hierarchy of business, I can't seem to function. I can't seem to take a trump. And the opportunities are not bestowed upon me because I'm seen as something that I'm not. How can I not have expectations? How can I not have goals? What am I creating within myself that creates perpetually this hurdle and this blockage from management? Totally destroys me, especially when they turn their bullying around to be victimised and try and make me look like the bully. And then they do such a good job at it because they're so cunning and conniving and manipulative Like, what the fuck is going on? This dude's getting a senior wage, he's in a position of management, but he can't even sit in the same room as me and have dispute resolution and provide fairness in the workplace. Am I angry? I'm not angry. Am I frustrated? Hell yeah. Am I sad? I'm disappointed. It's over the top, insane. The lack of job opportunities, the lack of professionalism. What can I do about it? Nothing. I've just got to keep travelling. I've got to keep waiting. Apparently the opportunity will come up in its own time. When I'm tired and overworked by doing a shitload of evenings, and then I've got other things to do with relationships in there, I really wonder what's going on. Anyway, this is more about me being human. I know it's not real, I know it's transitory. Most of the time my videos are about me embodying Kundalini, talking about the yogic context of life and the perspective, and embodying that Naga, the serpent, through the goddess Vach, where I'm blessed by this goddess of speech. But this is about the pain, the insanity, the misinformation that's embodied in the culture, how I'm struggling to cope, how I just want to cut a break. I don't know what to do. That's about it. I just got to persevere, stay on top of things, know that it's not real, and then have compassion for these beings that manipulate their situation for their own benefit and keep control of it. Oh, God help me. Anyway, that's Omji, signing off. Sheshnag Sanskrit School. Subscribe to the channel if you wish. What on earth is Kundalini? Don't know, man, but don't awaken it if you want to try and function in this culture. Peace. Om Namah Shivaya.